This is just a video about Spider-Man. Everyone knows the famous Spider-Man catchphrase, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Like shadow with light or heat whenever energy is transferred, great responsibility comes with great power. A natural consequence of the power, just the way of the world. How things are. But that's not how the phrase goes. Not originally. The advice is this: with great power there must also come great responsibility. It's 3 words of difference and a missing S, but it fundamentally changes the meaning. Responsibility isn't something that naturally comes with power. It's up to you, the person with the power, to provide it, or up to us to demand it from those with power. The original statement is an active one. An action needs to be taken. It's on us to be responsible with our power because it won't just happen. Spider-Man needs to be responsible. We need to be responsible with all the great and small power that we have. But we keep getting that wrong because we forget 3 words and an S. This is just a video about Spider-Man and what happens when we forget what the lesson is all about. In Amazing Fantasy 15, the introduction of Spider-Man, Peter is bitten by a radioactive spider and granted superhuman powers. He uses that new power to achieve fame and money, first as a wrestler and then as a showman. Feeling selfish at the height of his fame, Peter lets a robber run past him when he had the power to stop him. Why should he be the one to stop crime? The thief that he lets get away later kills Peter's Uncle Ben. In 2002 Spider-Man, Peter Parker is bitten by a radioactive spider and granted superhuman powers. He uses that new power to achieve fame and money as a wrestler. When the wrestling organizer stiffs him, Peter chooses to let a robber go free. It's not his problem. The thief that he lets get away later kills Peter's Uncle Ben. Did you spot the difference? Let's do this one more time. In 2012's Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker is bitten by a radioactive spider and granted superhuman powers. When a shopkeeper stiffs him, Peter chooses to let a robber go free. It's not his policy to stop crime. The thief that he lets get away almost immediately kills Peter's Uncle Ben. Both film adaptations of Uncle Ben's death include something that was not there in the original. Each of them adds a reason for Peter Parker to not stop the thief. In the first, he's out $2,900, cheated by the man that later gets robbed. By letting the thief go, he's getting revenge. In the second, he's been denied a drink over a couple of pennies by somebody who's more interested in policy than humanity. By letting the thief go, he's getting revenge. The changes make sense. The writers are giving Peter a reason for his decision, having him make a choice because audiences like people who make choices. In both adaptations, he chooses revenge, and therefore learns that revenge is bad, that anger at injustice is bad. But that's not the message of Spider-Man's origin, not originally. In the comics, Peter doesn't take an action. He lets the thief pass, not to spite anybody, not for any reason at all, except that he's selfish. He is passive in the face of injustice because he only cares about himself. When his Uncle Ben dies at the hands of a criminal that he could have stopped, he learns that it's his passiveness that is to blame, that it's his selfishness that is to blame, that he was granted all this power and he used it just to get more power and money and fame. The story of Spider-Man, the original story in as much as one story told through many authors can be original, is a story about the importance of action. In that fatal moment in Spider-Man's origin, he chooses inaction, and it costs him his world. Spider-Man is a character who, when the odds are against him, will continue to act, who will get back up again, who will keep getting back up. When he's trapped under a building, he will lift it up to save his dying aunt. When he's buried alive, he will claw his way to the surface. When he's being hunted by an all-powerful spider-killing vampire man, because comics, he will fight for hours, keep throwing himself towards danger because to not act is to let evil win. There are times when the odds are against him, and there are times when he loses. Action costs him, sometimes his friends, his family, his love, his life. But despite all of that, Spider-Man chooses to act. But here's his secret. something that's explored in the origins a little bit, but is mostly explored in the issues and decades to come. One of the reasons Spider-Man is able to keep fighting is because he's angry. The film adaptations of Spider-Man's origin make the case, however subtly, that his anger at the way he was treated, his justifiable anger, is the reason his Uncle Ben died. That he made the wrong choice to punish those in power who had used their power irresponsibly. But that's not in the original text, and it's almost antithetical to the idea of Spider-Man. Spider-Man sees injustice, and it makes him angry. It bubbles at the edge of his personality, driving him to make a difference. It sometimes gets too much, sometimes has to be reined in, but the message of Spider-Man is that it makes sense to be angry sometimes, to let that fuel action. That if you see injustice in the world, if you see power wielded like a club against those who have none, it's okay to be angry. If you see the words of hatred and intolerance seeping into culture, it's okay to be angry, but that we use that anger to spur action in ourselves and in others. We use what power we have responsibly to ease pain, to be kind, to save lives. Because if we don't, if he doesn't, he wouldn't be Spider-Man anymore. And this is just a video about Spider-Man.